Jenna Jahnz.
Jenna Jahnz, yep.
Here we go. Here we are on episode 114 of the Trash Talk Business Podcast. This is our opportunity every week to grow, scale, and build our junk removal dream. I'm Andy Weins, host. I'm still looking for a co-host, kind of. Like, I'm not really looking. However, it's like 7-Eleven. Not always doing business, and I'm always open to the idea. So anyways, I'm Andy Weins. She's Jenna Jahnz, RN Health and Life Coach. And I know that because she put that all in her title. She might have the longest title we've ever had here on the podcast. Jenna, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Also, I've known Jenna like 3+ years. So it's one of the few guests that I actually know, and I didn't know until about 40 seconds ago how to pronounce her last name. So here we are in the great internet interwaves world. All right, Jenna, I know what you do. Tell the listener what is it you do, and then we'll dive into your journey and your story and where you're going.
Sure. Sounds good. So I'm a registered nurse and a certified health and life coach. I specialize in men's health as well as weight loss. I was born and raised in Western medicine, and I spent most of my career in the ER, both as a nurse and an ER manager. And I just witnessed firsthand for so many years the detrimental effects of what chronic illness does. And not just for my patients, but for my staff, for my team. And that's when I found coaching as I was progressing my nursing career, almost entering as a primary care provider, realizing that I have so much more benefit in helping people with their day-to-day life versus prescribing expensive meds and tests and all the things that Western medicine does for us at this time.
I like it. So what is it? What do you do now, and who do you serve?
Yeah. So now I do both still. I coach Monday through Thursday, working with mostly men. Usually they're about the age of 30s to 50s, although my oldest client is 77, which I think is so fun. Yep. And then on the weekends, I still nurse. I'm a triage nurse. So I provide medical advice to patients with all of Wisconsin and Illinois.
So why, let's talk about, so you only serve men in your coaching practice, and who are these men typically? Why do they come to you?
Yeah, good question. Well, the men that I serve, they often come to me because I feel like I provide the safe space. It's having my nursing background as well as being a woman who's so interested in fitness, mental health, physical health, the emotional health. I tend to attract guys who are trying to find balance. Their coping skills might not be the best. They're high stress lives. They have high societal expectations, busy, on the go, diets not so good. And they're just trying to look for a change. A lot of these guys are young and they're already on medication, high blood pressure pills, high cholesterol. Their doctor's already given them the warning that they're on a bad trajectory. So I like to step in from that prevention, measures to let's make some changes. Let's get you off your medication and increase the quality and length of your life potentially.
So you're talking about coping. I cannot tell you things. I cannot recall the last time I heard the word coping. So what do you mean by coping?
Well, coping means something different to everybody, whether it's overworking, whether it's over drinking, social media, right? Overindulging on social media. Even to the fact how many people have more of a victim mentality, right? Life is happening to you, and it's hard just to get out of that negative loop. So from a coping standpoint, it's being able to have more of a stoic approach in life and just be able to better balance your emotions and find better outlets to improve your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual health.
So you post daily on the Facebook. I see it all the time, right? Whether it's videos or sayings. I am not as religious or disciplined as you are. I'll go a couple weeks good and then a couple weeks not so good, whatever. Mine's much more temperamental. Okay, use the word stoic. I keep hearing this word popping up, right? So let's talk about stoicism, right?
Yeah.
And really, I mean, our audience are primarily junk roll operators. Definitely lean more males than females, right? So what does that mean to like define that again? I know you like used it
Yeah.
means
Sure.
different things, but like the stoicism, and I never really use the word stoicism or to be stoic, and yet I lean into what I interpret stoicism is. So explain that to
Yeah.
our audience.
Yeah, and knowing you for the last 3 years, I feel like you do live a stoic life, just the way that you talk and the way that you move. So for me, stoicism, I found this about 5 or 6 years ago when I was in a hard time. I just was not feeling fulfilled with my career, with my marriage, with everything going on. And I just found stoicism to be so beneficial to me. And the best way I can say it is amor fati, to love one's fate, to understand that everything that happens in life, we can either, bitch and complain and find a reason to feel bad, or we can use it as a lesson. We can become stronger from it. We can grow from it. We can take a situation, whether we failed or not, and somehow find the good in it, so that we understand that our time here on earth, we need to make the most of it, right? I mean, we could go tomorrow. So either we could be upset or we can, make the most of our life, take control over the things that we can control and let go of the things that we cannot.
Yeah, I Googled it because that's how I live life. And I like what you said. So the Google definition is the endurance of pain or hardship without the display of feelings and without complaint.
Sure.
So that's stoicism, right? Okay, so you're stoic and like you stand there and you're Billy Badass. I look at it that
Right,
way.
right.
I like what you said more because my mom has this is one of her things she says often is to have I did Andy Wine's live right before this and I was talking about battle cries, and one of her battle cries and I didn't talk about it on the show, but now I think about it, she has it right on our barn. We have a barn in our family commune situation, but it says have faith in your fate, right? So it's similar, like
Ooh,
let go, let God, right? All those things. Because I think of stoicism, when I did mass resiliency training in the Army, um, we talked about how, right, you can be an egg or you can be a tennis ball, right? If you're an egg, you're hard on the inside, and yet when you drop, you're going to crack. However, when you're a
fragile.
tennis ball, right, you bounce back. And we read a poem, and of course now I'm gonna have to think about this poem, and it was like what was that poem? Now I'm going to look it up because it's going to drive me nuts. But it's
Yeah.
all about it. To me, I guess I look at stoicism maybe in a more negative light, or always have, because it's the second half of this definition of displays without feelings or without complaint. And I like what you said. It's really not right without complaint. Yeah, like hey, deal with it, right? Right.
Yeah.
My 3-step methodology for life is very simple, right? Do the fucking thing, tell the fucking world, show the fuck up. And stoicism for me is show the fuck up, right? Despite the challenge, despite the pain, despite what comes at you, show up
Right.
as who you are. And you're jumping into the entrepreneurial world. A lot of us
Mhm.
here, the listeners, we've been in the entrepreneurial world, and it comes down to controlling the situation versus the situation controlling us. That
Yeah.
right. So this whole idea of without feelings, no, lean into the feelings, and yet lean into the feelings in a way that you're gonna get the best out of it. Right. Lean
That it
into it.
serves you.
Right. Lean
Yes.
into it like in the military, we have a very great saying: "Embrace the suck." That is like our ultimate battle cry. Like someone's like, "Oh, this sucks." You're like, "Yeah, it does. Embrace it." Like,
Yes.
right. Whether or not
Yes.
you knew what you were signing up for, here we are. Right.
Yep.
Embrace it. That's an option, and every other option sucks,
Right.
right? Because
Yeah,
complaining about it, bitching, that ain't gonna get you anywhere, right? And
exactly.
embrace the suck. I forgot about that one.
Yes.
We'll have to
Yep.
Taylor, we'll have to add that to somehow I have to add that in post to my Annie Wine's live. Embrace the suck. How I went an entire 15 minutes battle cry without saying embrace the suck. Um Man, this is driving me nuts. Like I'm gonna have to look this up now. I'm
Well,
thinking about
the serenity prayer. Are you familiar with
yeah. Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I have
that's
the
something
hold on. Let me see if I can pull it out of my ass. God grant me the serenity,
wisdom.
the wisdom. Yeah, serenity to what understand the things I cannot control, the wisdom to know the difference in the what the fuck is it? Hold on. Now I'm gonna have to Google this shit.
You're
See
close.
that
You're close.
I'm close. Serenity.
Yeah.
If I can't even spell serenity. Serenity prayer. They used it a lot in don't they use it a
Okay.
lot in AA?
Okay.
Yeah, there it is.
Exactly. That's exactly
God
it.
grant me the serenity, the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. There we go. I missed the whole courage thing, like the goddamn lion.
Well, and this is what I tell people, whether you're religious or not, this is such a great approach to life because we can't control what people do to us. We can't control the things that people say, but we can control how we react, right? And there's a very delicate balance in understanding what is happening to us, what is happening for us, and what we're going to do about it. And I like to really preach that so people take more control over their actions and their responses.
You are literally speaking to my book, right? Have you read my book yet? I know you have
I
a
have
copy.
not finished it,
Oh,
but
there it is.
I'm in it. I'm in
All right,
multiple
start it.
books right now.
There,
Yes.
started. We'll say started it.
Yeah.
No, because so that's it, right? It is about responding to the situation versus reacting to the person. That
Yes.
is like that is it. That is the ultimate goal in life, right? And even in our
Yeah.
industry in junk removal, it's like, oh, my competitor did this. Oh, the landfill did that. Oh, the customer did this. And it's like, all right, what are you going to do about it? Like we had a situation earlier today where a customer called. She's not in the state. She did not understand why her price was what it was. It actually went down, but it didn't go down as much as she thought it was going to go down because she kept saying, "Oh, I spent all this time this weekend," and she was just going in circles and circles and circles. And I finally go, "Okay, what is your ideal outcome?" Right? And I said like 3 or 4 times. Well, I just don't want to pay this much. Okay, well, how much do you want to pay? Right? How much do you want to pay? Give me a number. Right? And it was $78 different than where we were at. And I'm like, okay. It went from 1603 to 1525. I go, okay. I said, for $78, we can be done with this conversation and you can feel validated. Yes. Okay. Well, let's do that then.
Yeah.
Like it was that simple. It's like, okay, let's do that. And instead of, I'm not changing my pricing structure. I'm not going to call and apologize. I'm not going to unload my truck and then take pictures and send you what I did and didn't take. Like, right, whatever all these things are.
Yeah.
Right. Ultimately, the customer didn't feel like they got their value for the work done. Sounds good. How valuable was it? And the number she pulled up was relatively arbitrary based off of some math she did in her head. And I go, sounds good. I was right there with Mike and we were on the speakerphone. I go, okay. So if I take $78 off this, I make it 15. And I'm not going to argue with you about how we got here. We did a timetable and she was not interested, right? Oh, okay.
Sure.
So we explained the process. We booked the job. We completed the job. We're billing you for the job. And now you're in a point where now you want to have a conversation about what, okay. And if $78 is the difference between being done and continuing this circle jerk, well, let's
do it. Yeah.
$78 sounds like a really good use of my money. Right. And we moved on. What we see a lot in our industry is people, especially guys, they have no idea how to price their jobs. And so now they're constantly guessing and they're allowing the customer like, oh, well, we're slow this week. Well, it's like, well, does your price change because you're slow or do you need to get better? Like, what does this ultimately look like? And that's the kind of stuff I see from a stoicism standpoint. That's where people get sideways.
Sure. And you probably see that with I could even say that in my field. How do you know what your services, what cost to apply to them for the value that you're adding to people?
Yeah. Also, I did find it. I've been sitting here for the last 5 minutes getting frustrated. I could not remember what poem we use in the military for mass resiliency training. And what I think of when I think of stoicism, and it's Invictus by William Ernst Henley. It is the there we go. I'm pulling it up now. Out of the night covers me. Black is the pit from pole to pole. I think whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. I used to teach this quite a bit, master resiliency training, and I have to read this. And I always struggle with the word man. I'm still struggling. For my unconquerable soul. So when I think of stoicism, it's that, right? It is this standing at the the gates of hell, right? With my bowed, was to say bowed and not broken. It matters not how I straight the gate, how charged. No, man, I'm all over the damn place. I should just read the whole damn poem at this point. My head is bloody, unbowed. So it's okay. Yeah, shit happens, and yet I'm ready to take it on. And so we use this poem actually in resiliency training as a way of not being, because when you're so hard in that regard, you're not resilient. And so finding that alignment where you can be stoic and that you carry yourself in such a manner, and yet you're also not so much, you're not so resistant to hearing what the market is saying around you, or responding to the situation around you when new data or information becomes available. So I guess that's where I struggle with the word stoicism, because I also want to be in a place where I'm listening to those around me. I'm paying attention to what's going on in my life and those around me. And I want to lean into my feelings that serve me, right? I don't want to be so stoic. I refuse to be happy, or so stoic that I refuse to be vulnerable, or approachable, all those things.
Yeah, it's interesting that you had more of a negative connotation to it, because I absolutely contribute to what you just said. It's that life, we're human, right? Life is 50-50. Bad stuff is going to happen, but what are we going to do about it? How are we going to show up and respond when we are in the face of adversity, right? Like that to be is stoicism, right? To be resilient, to brush yourself up. I was thinking about confidence, and it's like, it's not just confidence to succeed. It's confidence that you're going to fail over and over again and still be okay. Like it's okay to fail, right? You got to learn something along the way. And unfortunately, failure is one of life's greatest lessons.
Fortunately, let's say fortunately, failures, right?
Sure. Yes, of course.
Fail first attempt to learn. Let's not say it's unfortunate. Like I often joke here in our business, and it's true. It's like, hey, let's fail at something new today, right? We're going to fail at something. Like, let's pick our cross. Instead of failing at the same shit we failed at yesterday, like, let's master that thing and let's fail at something new, because it's a new mountaintop, right? It's that growth mindset. It's like, we hit a peak. Okay, let's go hit another fucking peak. And we may stumble on the way up the fucking mountain. And it's like, okay, well, let's fail. Let's fail until we succeed. Let's keep, fail, or try again. Bullshit, right? And it's like, well, no, keep failing. Exactly. Don't even try. Like, keep failing and figure it the fuck out. Like, that's the goal.
Absolutely. Yes. Because growth and success happens outside your comfort zone, right? So if you're not pushing yourself, then you're just too safe.
So you're working with a lot of higher net or successful men. I want to clear that up. Like, you and I have talked about that, right? Typically, your clients are successful, and yet they want more. They're not, right? Like, so, like, I gotta go to, I'm very honest about this. I go to counseling every other Monday. I went this morning at 11 a.m. And like, that's my baseline for success, right? With my counseling. And then I also have a business coach and other people I associate with where it's like beyond baseline. Because often what I've seen is people, myself included, it's like I was like, well, I'm good enough. Like, and so I was resistant to having a coach, or resistant to having consultants. So I'm like, well, I'm doing all right. I'm doing pretty good, And so what is it? Why is it these men are coming to you, right, that want next level? And what are you providing them that is also can be achieved by other people in our audience?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I like how you said initially there was some hesitation to that, because you'll see people almost thinking as a failure, like, I need a life coach or I need a health coach, something's wrong. Versus I look at it, I mean, I have 4 coaches myself. I look at it as that achieving that next level. How can I get there without having to try to do it on my own? Which often when you have a coach, you have that accountability partner, you have somebody showing you the way, you have somebody picking you up right on the hardest days when you do fall and you're like, fuck this. And it's just being able to get there faster, right? Like you get to celebrate, and you also get to work through the challenges as you level up. Because what's that saying? New level, new devil, right? The more you level up in life, the more shit you're going to have to figure out. And not just about the world, but mostly about yourself, right? What do you value? What is important to you? Are your day-to-day actions aligning with what you believe is important? You know, your legacy, what do you want to be known as? And are you living that every day?
And so what are the challenges? Like, so you work with men only. What are the challenges that men are having that you're helping them overcome? Because they have a desire where they want to be.
Yeah.
They're not getting there on their own. So what is it about what you do allows them to, be transformative?
Yeah. So honestly, I think it comes down to confidence. I think it comes down to, a lot of them actually have some past traumas. A lot of times it's like a father type figure relationship that was less than ideal. And it's almost the fear, man, woman, we all are human. So we all have our fears. And it's just that fear and understanding of just doing it, just doing the thing. Maybe it's the high societal expectations, the social norms of, mental health, right? There's a lot of stress and anxiety that I just think not all men are able to safely talk to their friends, to their significant others, gosh, to their bosses. I mean, you can't go in there and be vulnerable, right? Like you have to pretend you have it all together, even though you may be struggling. You may be sleeping awful. Your diet's not so good. A lot of these guys I find are over caffeinated, like 1,500 milligrams of caffeine a day. They may be drinking a lot. They may be having, their relationships aren't the best. They're just unfulfilled. They're just unfulfilled, and they need somebody to just help clear through some of that garbage and really get back on track to what it is important.
And how do you do it? How is it like? So
Sure.
there's coaches everywhere, right? So what makes you unique?
Yes, I have what's called the walk with me method. I find that pulling, the traditional talk therapy is wonderful, but for me, I like to be physically active. So my sessions with the guys that I work with, we're on the golf course, we're disc golfing, we're running stairs at Bradford Beach, we're just walking the trails, we're doing active things, which just naturally increases the cortisol in the body. It helps strategize and clearly think and process and just work through those deep emotions that otherwise get buried. They just get recessed. So I guess my strategy is just getting guys moving. It just gets the habit established, and it creates this safe environment. We're both looking forward. It's not that face to face all the time, and we're just trying to get to that next level, whatever it is to take. And then what I offer is not just our sessions, it's the in-between support. So I do a lot for my guys. I'm available 24/7, which is my own balance issues.
Yeah.
But most of life happens outside of our sessions, right? You get into a fight, you're in a bad situation, your headspace is not right, and you need someone to say, what should I do in this moment? Or even someone to celebrate. I give a lot of attaboys, because I'll get people who are like, guess what? I ran 2 miles today and only stopped once. Or, hey, I've lifted the last 5 days now. My caffeine's down. I'm eating protein like you wouldn't believe. And that's where they just need someone to be like, yes, like you're doing it. You're crushing it, man. Keep it up.
So is it more mental or physical then?
Both. I call it the triad. It's mental, it's emotional, and it's physical. And when you move your body, you are literally doing all three.
Yeah. And you only work with men. Why is that?
Men in the beginning, so I've been doing this about 2 years now, just started coming out a year ago that I'm actually a coach, started my online presence because I was off of social media for 7+ years. And men just raised their hand. I'm a boy mom. My best friends have always been guys. I don't know. It's just something about me and men, and I love guys. I love working with them. I was a mechanic for 4 years. I just always wanted to be with the guys.
You were a mechanic? I didn't know this.
Yeah, yeah. That was my high school job from 16 to almost 21.
What were you? What kind of mechanic were you?
My dad, he owns a business in Milwaukee, so he was my boss. I graduated high school early, worked for him full time, saved a whole bunch of money, and that's how I really kickstarted my life, to be honest. And being a single woman, I own a house that I do all my own renovations. I've renovated my kitchen and, just everything. And I attribute that to understanding the mechanics, right? When you understand how something works, it usually applies to other aspects of life.
Yeah, I was a carpenter for years, and I am a really average handyman now. I was hanging pictures last week. Like, I'm pretty
I can
all
help
right
you with
at hanging pictures. Oh yeah, no, like because I read the tape measure, do math. Right, I can fucking math like a mofo. Nail in wall, hang picture, like good. I was a carpenter long enough to know that I wasn't going to be a carpenter long enough, right? Like I
Yeah.
was never like my father's a carpenter. He understands structural engineering. Both my brothers worked in my dad's business, and you put myself and my dad and my two brothers in a room, and I am the worst carpenter in the room. Like I know who I am, right? Also, you put me in
Yeah.
the room with three of the guys, almost the worst guy in junk removal. Like my dad and my two brothers are significantly better than me at like the physical art of like moving and lifting and carrying and stacking and packing and all those things. So like I've
Good.
always been the sit back, let me do the logistics. Let me do the
That's your
thinking
math.
part.
That's your skill, right?
Oh
That's
yeah, yeah,
what
no.
you're well
Oh
at.
yeah, no, like yeah, I took small engines in high school and I basically fucked around the entire time and I'd probably get like a D. Like I understand, like on a piece of paper, I understand how a small engine works, right? Like combustion, got it. In practicality, like when a car drives by, you're like, oh, this sounds like shit, and someone's like, oh, the timing belt is off. I'm like, yeah, timing belt's off, sure. I'm fucking know.
Right, right. The
Like,
muffler's got
or
a hole.
yeah, I don't know, it's fucking loud. Like that sounded like shit. Or like old carbureted engines. My dad's like, oh, it's getting too much fuel. I'm like, yeah, it's getting too much fuel. Right? Even tractors, like I can hop on a tractor and run it. And I'm like, oh, it's driving like shit. Like that's pretty much like that is the extent of how I diagnose things. Now once the tractor is good, I live on a farm, so I didn't this year. The last 2 years though, I spent a lot of time on the tractor, just cultivating the land in spring and even in the summer. And so I could tell when the tractor was bogged down or not doing right, or maybe it was a bad batch of fuel or something like that. Beyond that, I'm like, let me operate the fucking machine. Like that's where I'm good at. I also drove truck in Iraq, so I'm like, I don't know, my truck's fucked up. It's like, give me a different truck, have the mechanics fix it. That's even now. Like I drive a Jeep. We have a bunch of trucks. Like I still have no idea how DEF works. Like people have explained to me with diesel and DEF, and I'm like, whatever. We need DEF. We don't need DEF. We need more DEF. We need DEF. This sure. I don't.
Yeah.
Like I will Google it and or just be like, mechanic person, tell me what to do. I can change my own windshield wipers. I can do that. I have changed my own oil, and then I realized years ago, like it's whatever.
It's not worth it.
Oh my god, it's $20 to do it yourself or 30 to drive in. Like you don't need to put your pants on to go get your oil change. Like I'm gonna go there in flip-flops and shorts and be like, hey, can you good?
Yeah.
Like I will sit here and watch YouTube videos for the next 10 minutes and then you will charge me. Actually, I'm also the guy that like I wait till I'm out of windshield wiper fluid and then I go get my oil changed because I'm too lazy to go. Like I'll be like, oh fuck. Like this winter, it was like 2 or 3 days in a row that it snowed and it was like, oh fuck, I can't see for shit. And so there's an oil change place. I go, all right, I got 15 minutes. So I finally got, and they're like, your windshield wiper reservoir is bone dry. I'm like, yeah, why do you think I'm here? Like I'm 2,000 miles past my oil change. Like that ship sailed, honey. Like let's not point fingers, right? Also, I buy the expensive ass synthetic because I want to go as long as possible before my next oil change.
Yeah.
Actually, I got gas this last week, and I was at like a quarter tank. So like I adulted because normally it's got to be beeping. It's got to be like beeping and screaming. Like I know it could be beeping on me when I leave work. I can go home, go to volleyball, go back home, make it to work, and I still got probably close to a gallon-ish.
Oh my
Because I know
gosh.
if I do that, I have I'll put 19.3 in a 20-gallon tank. Like I
That's
ride
hilarious.
shit. I also live my life like I have historically. I used to. Here we'll use some fucking empowering language. I used to live my life like that, and now I listen to my body and schedule physical
Yeah.
activity and time to rest and digest. I also listen to pink noise at night. I have automatic blinds and I set my bedtime. So like I'm
Good for
adulting
you,
hard as
though.
I'm adulting hard as shit. I go to the gym
Yes.
2 days a week. I play volleyball 2 days a week. And it took me years. Like I'm 40 now. It took me to I was 38 before I'm like, all right, I should probably adult. Like
Yes.
I would go to gyms or have gym memberships and I would 3 to 4 weeks max. Like I was very inconsistent. And now I realize that the more work I do outside of work, eating right, getting my steps in, not like I'm gonna go for a walk, more like being up and active and around,
Yep.
going to play volleyball at the beach on the weekend, getting sunshine, all that shit. I work less hours and get more shit done during the week. Because
Exactly.
otherwise I'm at work constantly chasing dopamine because I'm
Yes.
not energized,
Yes.
And
That's
also, for the record, I have 1 cup of regular coffee a day, and then everything else is decaf. And this week's episode is unofficial sponsors brought to us by Gator Garb, who were on the show maybe 6 months ago, 8 months ago. They got me this hat and this sweet ass coffee cup, and so the least I can do is shout them out. Gator Garb up there in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Sure. Check out their free swag. There we go. There's my radio days, a little 15-second plug, no big deal.
pretty good.
As I'm drinking my decaf coffee. Taylor, our producer, he's a business owner of sorts and things. He said, what are some common struggles you've noticed with business owners in particular that you've seen them overcoming with coaching?
Let's see. Are you talking to you or me?
I'm talking to you. I don't have that answer. You're the one coaching dudes.
All
There you
right.
go.
Well,
Episode 91. Thank you, Taylor. Taylor's in the background doing research the entire time. So that was 23 episodes ago. So that was like 6 months ago. There we go. I was pretty close. January.
So Taylor, can I spin that question? Because actually, I personally don't work with business owners at this point. Interesting enough, though, a lot of the guys I work with, within the first 3 to 6 months, they change careers, which I think is fascinating because a lot of them through our work, they realize they hate their job. They absolutely hate it. They're unhappy. And usually I ask them, well, why are you still there? What's stopping you from doing something different? And the answer often is, I don't even know. Let's look. Let's find something else that aligns better.
So they settle for the mediocrity of
life. Well, you nailed it on the head, Andy, because so many guys I feel like are like you, especially when you're in your 20s. Didn't you think you could bounce back so quick? No sleep.
I could. I didn't even.
Yes.
Wasn't even that thinking. I could. I could.
Yes.
I remember bartending. I would bartend till 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. I would get home, shit, shower, shave, be in bed at 4. I'd be back up at 5:15, 5:30, so I could go play Army for the day. And I would fucking go hard at the Army all day Saturday. And I was running on pure fumes. And I'd go hard until 16:30. I'd go eat dinner and I'd be in bed. And I'd catch a second wind. I'd go to the bar again with the guys. And I'd be in bed at 10, 11, back up at 6 the next morning. And by Sunday, I'm like, all right, now I should probably go to bed early on Sunday. And Monday morning, I'm back at it. I could function like hair on fire with an hour and a half of sleep. And now I'm like, ooh, I went to bed after midnight and everything hurts.
Exactly.
So yeah, it wasn't I thought I could. I absolutely could. I went hard. I went hard until 35. 35 is when I was like, oh fuck. And now every year since has been oh shit. Everything takes longer. I feel heavier. The problem for me is at 40, I still look at myself as a fucking kid. I am a man child. I remember my dad was 40. He was old as shit. Right? That was over the hill.
Yes.
Now at 40, I don't know what age you decide you're an adult. I'm not there. Like, I'm not even close to there. I have no desire to get there. Like, I always anticipate looking at myself as youthful.
Yes.
Now my
That's
body will disagree. That's why my fingers hurt from playing volleyball and my knees hurt from running. Yeah.
But that's where prevention is key. When we enter our 30s, it's an uphill battle. Our muscle mass, you lose 3 to 8% every decade. I have a harder time bouncing back. You're from bad diets and lack of sleep, your arteries are hardening.
Yeah.
Your body is changing. And that's where I try to catch guys in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. Because if you can make a shift now, you're going to have a solid 60, 70, 80, 90. And my goal is always 100. Like, let's get to 100 and be able to still travel, carry your own groceries, wipe your own bottom. Like, these are things that people don't always think about because we live in such an immediate gratification world. When it's like, if we do these little shifts now, we're set for later in life.
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed that. I mean, when I go to the gym now, it's not about making gains; it's about sustaining. It's about being able to push the same weight, or maybe a incremental gains, not huge trajectory. Like, actually, there's a leg machine. My goal is to max it out, so it goes up to 250 pounds, and I'm at 235 plus the 10, I think, right now. So I'm at 245 pounds. And like every week, I was gaining I was adding like 5 pounds like every other week by doing this machine. And last week I was doing the machine, and I can see it. I got one fucking plate left. It's totally mental. I want to max out that one machine. And now I'm like, oh, it's fucking heavy now. Like, I even told my trainer, I was like, oh, it's fucking heavy. Like, up until this point, I'm like, I got this. I'll push it. No big deal. And now last week I was like, oh, that was heavy this week. Right. And all the other machines, my goal is, because I hit personal best at different times. I hit a personal best the other day on the overhead press because I had a fucked up shoulder for the longest time. My shoulder still bothered me a little bit, but I hit a personal best, and it was like, I think I started like 61 points. Everything's on a point system, and I'm up to like 109. Right, it took 2 years. Like, I hadn't even doubled where I started, and yet I hit like 111 the other day. I was like, no big deal, right? And like, I've gained like a point or two a week for 2 fucking years. Like, this is not.
But slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah. And that's the same thing with my knees. My knees, for the longest time, I played volleyball, no issues, and I tore my meniscus. And then I went to the PT, and they're like, you just need to build strength. And I was like, what do you mean I got to build strength? I play volleyball. Like, that's my, and they're like, no, you need to do strength training. So that's why the whole reason I started going to the gym in the first place was so I could play volleyball. Right. Yes. Like, and I play volleyball because I like playing volleyball, not necessarily because I want to not be fat,
Right.
Because I am on cholesterol medication because I fucking love cheese, and I have a predisposition because my whole family is high cholesterol, right? Yeah. And like, I read your shit all the time. You're like, do this and this, and like, eat broccoli. And I was like, that's really nice, Jenna. Like,
I ain't doing it.
How about fucking cheese curds for dinner? I ate cheese curds
with the side of broccoli.
I don't even do broccoli. My brother loves broccoli.
Spinach is good. What about spinach?
The thing is with spinach, you got to eat a shitload of spinach to have a fucking impact. Like, I love spinach. So I'll eat spinach like potato chips. I just sit there and I just like throw it. Yeah. Also, when you cook spinach, like, it wilts down to nothing. Like, it wilts down to like baby poop. And so I had venison tenderloin last night I did have like green noodles, like fancy wheat something.
Oh, sure, like a plant-based?
I don't fucking know. All I do know is they were frozen and they cooked in a minute with a little bit of garlic olive oil. So yeah, I went. Well, then I also had like a half a bag of cheese curds before I had dinner. So like, that's the. And vegetables, like, I don't fuck with vegetables. Carnivore diet. That's like my ideal diet.
Which is fine. What about protein? How's your protein intake?
Oh,
that's key for guys.
Oh yeah, no. So I could have a pure protein diet. Like, so my biggest issue is cutting out dairy because I'm fucking 40 years old. And I still could drink like a half of a gallon of milk a day, and I love fucking cheese. I love cheese. Like, I had shredded cheese today after my rotisserie chicken for lunch. No, and I because I hunt and I have tons of venison. I eat almost venison almost most nights. And if I had more confidence in my ability to cook fish, I would eat more fish. I love fish, and yet I have it's a lack of confidence cooking it. because I always think I'm going to undercook it, and then I just fucking destroy it.
Don't do it. Interesting.
Also,
Yeah.
cooking fish, I love cooking venison because it's like put in the frying pan, a little bit of butter, frying pan, done. Like it is hard to fuck something up in a frying pan.
Do it with fish. Push yourself outside your comfort zone.
Jen, we're supposed to be coaching the people listening, not me.
Oh, okay.
That's how we're.
This would be very beneficial for them too, I'm sure.
Yes, people, yes. Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah,
Fry
right,
fish.
right.
That's why I love traveling. That's why I love going to restaurants, because I will always order shit that I do not cook at home. Like rarely am I going to order a steak or a burger. Like I want fish. I want something that they can prepare significantly better than I can.
Yes. Yeah, that's good.
All right. So what are some keys, or what are some things that you teach men? Because you said confidence is the key. Confidence is the thing that they're lacking. So what are things and what are skills that you're giving them? Or trigger, what is it you do that increases their confidence so they feel confident? Like I said, after 3 to 6 months, they're quitting their jobs and starting new careers. Like, what is it you're doing that can be repeated outside of you by our listeners?
Well, I think it always comes down to the first step is, what is it that I want? You know, a lot of people actually don't even know, what do I want in life? So there's a lot of work, that a lot of different exercises that I put guys through, just uncovering, who am I as a person? What is my mission in life? What is it that I value? And what are my goals? You know, we try to be very strategic. I think guys, kind of like your point system. It's nice when you're actually working towards a concrete goal that you can see progress with. You know, so you always want those quick wins. You know, you want, when the guy starts dropping weight or feeling a little bit more tone, seeing some more muscle definition, that feels good, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then the deeper and deeper that you get with some of these easy wins, and almost always it's water. How much water are you drinking, right? And then we just start increasing such basic stuff. And once you see that ball rolling, you just become more and more confident that I can do anything that I set my mind to. I can get to, leg pressing 250 pounds because I got somebody there who's going to hold me to that. If I say that's a goal of mine, well, we're going to make it happen.
It's not the leg press. It's a hip adduction. I think I can leg press 250. No problem. That's not an issue. Because I do the leg press machine. It's way more than 250. No big deal. Not showing off. That's not like a huge weight. It's a leg, whatever. It's the point I want to hit the 250. Also, I drink a shitload of water at night. I never drink water during the day. Why is that? Because
you drink probably coffee most of the day.
Decaf coffee all fucking day.
See, I'm big on essential amino acids. That was one of the biggest changes I've made personally, and I have my guys do it. Your very first thing you should drink in the morning is amino acids. Then you're getting this full thing of water before caffeine. You're replenishing all the muscle loss, all the protein that was utilized over sleep. That's when your body heals, grows, repairs. And instantly you're starting your day fueling your body. So you're hydrated, you got high protein right off the bat. And then you don't even need that first cup of coffee until, whatever, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whenever it is that you start to experience that.
All right.
Or even an hour later, your first hour of waking.
Yeah, 90 minutes. The key, Andrew Huberman, the neuroscientist, talks about 90 minutes. The key is to go 90 minutes without drinking any coffee because it allows your brain to fully open up and all the things.
And your kidneys. So all that shit that happened overnight. So you're growing, you're repairing, you're healing, you're processing. That's why it's a bad idea to binge eat before you go to bed because now your body has so much work to do all night long and it can't go around and clean up all the other stuff. It's like the garbage removal. When it's got a big shit ton of stuff to do, it can't go around and clean the nooks and crannies. So when you drink water in the morning and your first couple pees, you're flushing all the toxins out. It's like you're like a sewer, right? You're like cleaning it out before you're packing shit in.
Okay, so I fucking love going to bed on a full stomach. Like I sleep so much better. I think Andrew Huberman talked about this, like carb load. Like I could go
Sure.
all day where I only eat carbs at night. Like, and I eat dinner late all the time, like 7, 8 o'clock. Like tonight I
Sure.
have gym at 7. So I'm not going to get home until 8, which means I'm not going to be done eating till 9. And I'm going to carb load like a mother. Like I already, like now as I'm talking about dinner, I'm already thinking about dinner because I fucking love dinner. I'm going to have a pound, or not, I was going to say a pound of rice. That'd be heavy. I'm going to
Yeah,
have
be
a cup of
happy.
rice. Actually, how much? Actually, how much is a cup of rice? I want to see the weight of a cup of rice.
Well, and let
Uh,
me ask you, is this white rice? Is this a whole grain? Is this a brown
this is
rice?
this is regular ass white rice,
Oof.
fucking jasmine.
That would be one of the first things I'd say. Switch that out for quinoa. Switch that out for something else, and it
I
would
got a
make all.
rice cooker. I got a rice cooker, not a fucking quinoa cooker. I'm sure it fucking does the same. 1 cup of
I know.
white
I'm
rice
like,
is 7 ounces, so I guess about a half a pound. I
this
see.
is
I was told white rice is like the best carb because it's so
mm,
simple.
no way. So any simple carb like a white rice, any enriched white flour, your
Yeah,
body right after you digest it, it's just like sugar. So it puts your body in this high stress response, causing this. It's called the blood sugar roller coaster.
real quick. I went to type in best carbs, and it shows up as Alaskan King because I type in crabs because I fucking I can't spell. Yeah.
Yes.
Anyways, I
Even
got
Taylor
crabs,
says
not carbs.
brown rice might be better. Yes. That's what
No,
I'm gonna
because
buy you.
no, because no, what do you call it? The fuck. No, brown rice is terrible because there's like the husk and shit on it, and your body doesn't digest that shit. I thought that's why. All right, fine. To your point, healthline.com. Again, totally like fucking biased and probably trying to sell shit. It's a goddamn
Oh yeah.
Walmart ad. You're right. Quinoa is number 1. Oats is 2. Oats
Mhm.
and me do not agree for some reason. Uh,
That's all right.
buckwheat. That's what my fucking dad calls me. That ain't fucking. What is this shit? You can't eat fucking raw buckwheat. Where the hell you
It's a
find buckwheat? There ain't
it's a
no fucking
grain,
buckwheat.
right?
It's
You
fucking
know,
laying
in
around. I can't
yeah,
find a
in
bag of buckwheat at the Costco. How do you eat
um,
buckwheat? It's a highly nutritious whole grain that many people have considered to be a superfood. What is this shit? I'm gonna type in buckwheat in real life. Now you got me triggered with your fucking, like my white reef. Okay, I just typed in buckwheat in real life, and goddamn buckwheat from Little Rascals popped up. See, you can't even
oh,
find buckwheat in real food. That ain't a real thing.
quinoa is a complete protein, so it is a superfood. It's incredible.
I don't hate quinoa. I think I probably have quinoa in my pantry. I don't
And you know
hate it. I
the
just don't love it.
Sure. Well, that's the thing. It's like you got to decide, what are you eating for, right? Is it just for the immediate gratification for the taste, or are you eating for longevity? You know?
I eat until I'm physically unable to keep eating. Like when I make my daughter loves mac and cheese, and so do I. And so I will make a box of mac and cheese, and there's no way we're splitting that 50-50. So I will eat until I eat all the food on my plate, and then she eats as much as she does, and I just finish her plate, and I'm so happy. All right, all the other high carb place foods are fruits, and I can't have them. And then it's kidney beans and chickpeas, are the last
Yes.
two. All right,
Yes. Like
buckwheat. Okay,
pasta. Go on.
love pasta. I fucking love pasta.
But chickpea pasta is an incredible alternative because you're getting
Uh,
so much protein. It's plant-based and it doesn't got all the carbs.
Also, they don't sell according to the internet right now, since we got totally sidetracked. They don't sell buckwheat at the Costco. And that's where I do my shopping. If Costco don't sell it, that ain't what I do.
I
They
ain't
do
doing it.
have organic quinoa, and they have my bag of jasmine rice. I buy the big old 25. I have a 25-pound bag of rice at home from the Costco. It's like $20. It's so fucking cheap. It's so like, so we did the math on that. That's 50 fucking servings, 50 plus 54
Yeah.
servings.
Yeah.
That's a year's worth of rice for me. Easy.
That's the problem though, is that good food is usually more expensive and can take
I
longer to prep. And that's why
yeah,
people avoid it.
I have no problem living forever, right? Um, All right, quinoa actually is on point price wise, as it's double the price. It's double the price of quinoa is double the price of white rice, and that's not crazy. Like that, all right, fine. I don't know if I love quinoa that much.
Try it once, then you can.
No, I've
Well,
had
you
it.
can try it more than once.
No, I've had it. I've eaten. I've dated people that were like quinoa, and I was like, all right, I'll eat this shit. Yeah, I don't go out of my way to buy it or something. What's the other one I like? Risotto. The one you got to keep putting the water in, risotto. I love risotto. Too lazy to make it though, and that's just flour. That's just flour in a smaller noodle, basically.
Can we
Again,
put ketchup on it to make it taste better, or cheese?
welcome to
Well,
Trash
I
Talk
mean,
Food Podcast,
yes.
where we talk about all food that I'm supposed to be eating, so I'm not fat and lazy someday.
But this is the thing. You can't outrun a bad diet. But I always tell people you got to live. So if you
Yeah.
are going to have a high carb diet, then are you doing enough activity to actually burn that excess carbs? Because carbs is energy. And what
Yeah.
energy does not get used gets stored as fat. And then,
Mhm.
People right now, over 40% of men are unfortunately overweight. 50% have either high blood pressure or high cholesterol, and 1 in 4 die from heart disease. And almost all of that can be prevented. That's why I'm so passionate, because it's like, why? Why live a short life, or why have a stroke or a heart attack at 50 when that could be prevented?
Yeah, according to the army, I'm overweight. I'm fat. So even this chart here, I have 76. Actually, I like this chart. This chart here says I'm not fat. So there we go. I'm gonna use this chart from now on.
Yes.
My base guide. All right. So this says 76 inches, 40 plus. Finally hit that. No big deal. I got 226 pounds. That's my allotted. And even actually 28 to 39 was 223. So I hover right at 218 to 221. Like that's my hover weight. For the longest time, I couldn't even get over 200 pounds. When I was back in Iraq, I remember I wanted so bad to get I was like at 187 for the longest time. Like, and then once I hit 200 pounds, I've never been under 200 pounds.
Sure.
Like my ideal weight is probably, I don't know, 205 maybe. What's the ideal? According to the army, I'm fat. My max is 212. That's for when you're like 20 though.
Sure.
The army, that's ROTC standards.
What's hard though, I mean, you're tall and thin, and it's your muscle distribution. Muscle weighs way more than fat. So
Well,
you can
I also got a fucking pooch. I ain't gonna lie about that.
I mean, I wasn't gonna say that, but you really don't.
You can't see that shit from a goddamn Zoom. Fucking, what are we on? StreamYard? Hashtag StreamYard. Now it's gonna drive me nuts. All right. Anyways. What did we solve today? Quinoa, confidence, quit your fucking job you hate, go for a walk. I will say that when I am in
Hire
my
a coach.
depression, hire a coach. I will say when I am in my woe is me victim mindset, I have a tendency to be lethargic, right? Like earlier this year, I started playing video games because I was not in a great place mentally. And like video games were giving me that little bit of dopamine satisfaction. And they weren't actually solving any problems. I was just masking the frustrations I was having in life. And I know when I'm out and I'm active, I'm better. Obviously this time of year with the weather being legit, like it's a lot simpler. I know for me, I need to get out and be active earlier in the day. That's what I need to do. Because I work. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, now I'm gonna go work out. And I'm normally I've already my best hours are behind me typically, if that makes sense.
Sure. Well, and that's the beauty of being an entrepreneur, right? Is that if you have more control over your schedule and you know what works for you, then you make it work. It becomes a priority. You book it in your calendar that this is a meeting I cannot miss, me and a workout, whatever that means for me.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I had last year I had more flexibility. I was working out earlier in the day, and I will get back to that this year where I'm booking my workouts and working out earlier in the day when I'm in a more of a prime zone versus a afterthought. And what you said is dead on. It is prioritize the priorities, right? When you schedule it as a priority, then, then you're good, because then you're saying, hey, I'm going to take care of me. I talked about someone that this weekend. They're like, I take care of everybody else. I was like, cool. How much time do you do work on yourself? And they're like, none. And I was like, okay, then you're burning the candle, right? And when you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be the best version of yourself to take care of your significant other, your kids, your business, your social life, whatever it is, right? Like I'm intentionally selfish with my time. Like I went to the beach this weekend. That's what I do to recharge. I play volleyball 2 days a week. Like when there's a networking event on Tuesday or Wednesday, it's like, no, I play volleyball. That's what I do. I know me missing volleyball will make me not the best person in the world. Like when I play volleyball, like I feel better. I'm a better version of myself that week. I get
100%.
It's like my volleyball is like the hour a week I know I'm not gonna be on my phone, because I am a glutton for being stuck on my phone, and the fucking dopamine from emails to messages to social media to YouTube. Like I know the right answer, right? And I need to get out. I need to get out and be more active. I got the coach part. That part I'm good on. And that's the thing too. When listeners reach out to me often, it's like they're reaching out when they're in burnout phase, and they have never prioritized themselves. And now they have this woe is me, I have to do this victim mindset. And I tell them all the same thing. And I was 100% guilty of it too. Raise my hand. I was the guy where it's like, you're a martyr to your business. And the thing is, with martyrs, they always die. Right. So it's like, do you want to be the victor within your business or the martyr? And that's a fucking choice on whether or not you take care of what you said, what I liked was mental, physical, and emotional health.
Exactly.
And movement begets momentum. And so getting movement first, which is a choice, can beget the momentum of stabilizing your emotional and your mental health.
100%. Yes. That's exactly it. And that's what I do. That you just start with the movement, and all that beautiful stuff just keeps rolling from there.
Well, yeah, because you can make the choice. Like you can't just say, I'm going to be confident today. Like that's not how this fucking works, right?
No.
You can't say, hey, I'm going to go for work, or I'm going to go for a walk today. I am going to see a coach today. I am going to go to the gym today, right? I am going to eat food that's going to make me feel better and more powerful, right? Like all those things are choices.
Yes. Yes. How beautifully how that wraps right into our beginning conversation of stoicism, of what you can control in life and what you can't. So take action with what you can.
Look at that. We like got top takeaways ish without even talking about them, finishing right on time, which normally we get all over the place. We stayed relatively on track today. Well, that was good. What else? What last bit of advice do you have for the betterment of the group, the betterment of entrepreneurs out there? What is it they need to do? If there's one thing, we'll just do a top takeaways. One thing that need to walk away from this show.
Well, I think I'm going to table off of what you just said. Is self-care is not selfish. If you have big goals and big dreams in life, what are you doing day after day to actually make them become a reality? And be able to be there long enough to enjoy it, to enjoy the fruits of your labor. So put yourself first, and with doing so, you're going to see it spill over positively into all the people around you, whether it's your family, your friends, or your people who work for you. I mean, they want a healthy-minded, healthy physical person in charge.
Yeah, I love that point, and I can say the counterpoint is my business is at its best when I am the healthiest, because then I'm seeing things clearly. Right now I'm in a pretty healthy spot, and we're going through a rougher period. We're getting rid of a couple of employees this week because we've hired a few, and we're upgrading our team, and we're upgrading our bench. And some people are self-selecting out because they know they're on the hot seat, and the other people are letting go. And so that's always for me, that's a frustrating time. And yet I'm going to it from a healthy perspective where it's like, no, there's nothing, we're holding you to a standard, and you're choosing not to follow the standard. And I can say that with a clear mind, and not, there's nothing vindictive. There's nothing shitty. There's nothing, it's like, yep, here it is. It is what it is. Right. And so, that is because I choose to take care of myself. That is because I choose to go to the gym 2 days a week. I choose to play volleyball. I choose to go play volleyball this weekend. I choose to spend time with my daughter outside. Like even when
Yes.
the other day she was mad, she's like, Dad, we're supposed to have a lazy day. And I was like, no, lazy day means we're not going to work. Yes. However, we are going outside and we're doing stuff outside. We played football, we ran around, and I know when my body's in motion, I am the best version of myself. There you go.
Okay.
We keep it simple.
Boom. Drop the mic.
Boom. All right. Well, Jenna Jahnz. It reminds me of this guy who was in Iraq with, his name was Johnson, but he always go with Janssen, like Yagin. Very soft J. No big deal. Jenna, you stick around for a minute because we got to make sure your shit uploads and all those fun things. However, let's talk about the next couple episodes. Next week, we have our quarterly update with Andy Barton. Andy Barton's joined us. This is his 4th quarter in a row to give us an update of what he's seen in the junk removal industry. And on July 15th, I've been looking forward to this one for a while. Kevin Hess. Kevin Hess is making his rounds recently on a lot of different podcasts. He is well-renowned within the junk removal community. 15 plus years. He worked for Big Blue, and now he's doing his own thing. He's put himself a lot on social media lately, and I'm really excited for him to share his story and his journey here on the Trash Talk Business Podcast. So that's what we got coming up in the next 2 weeks. If you want to be a guest or you know a guest we need to have on, like I said, Casey's left the show. I am not very actively looking for a co-host. I'm open to it, and I'm going to keep this show going so long as we have guests. And when the day comes that the market responds and we have no guests, well, then we table the show. That's as simple as this. That's the directory I'm on. I want to serve the greater junk removal community, and I ultimately need your support to ensure that we have great guests lined up. So if you have a vendor, you have a customer, you have yourself, or even a competitor that you think would be a great guest on this show that you want to learn from and grow from, send them my way. Taylor, our producer, will get them hooked up, and we will have them on an upcoming episode of the Trash Talk Business Podcast. So on behalf of Taylor, our producer, Jenna Jahnz, our amazing guest today, I'm Andy Weins. This has been the Trash Talk Business Podcast, and we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Tap subscribe or follow to get the latest episode. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave us a review and tell a friend to listen. To learn more,